All right, so we're going to continue with these tariff diagrams, and so far what we've done is had a regular market, then we put in the P world, and then we got to this big mess, where now we have the tariff in black. Okay, now what that's done is it's reduced domestic demand, obviously then shrunk consumer surplus, and then it has increased producer surplus for the domestic people from this little triangle to this bigger triangle. Now, where is the tariff revenue? Well, remember, tariff revenue, just like tax revenue, is going to be the tax, that's PT minus PW, this vertical distance, times the amount actually being imported. That'll be these two amounts. So it's actually going to be this rectangular surface right here. So in blue, I'm going to go ahead and mark that up. This is the tax revenue, okay? Or tariff revenue. So you see that box. Now again, where did I get that? Well, it's the tariff, PT minus PW, times the quantity that's being imported. And how do I know that's the quantity being imported? Well, here's how much is being bought, and this is how much is now being produced by the domestics. So the distance must be how much is being imported. Okay, so per unit tax times gives us that rectangle. Okay, now let me, in orange, just show you a little bit of where consumer surplus is now with some arrows. I don't want to make a big mess here. And now here is the surplus values. So here is our new producer surplus, and here's our new consumer surplus. Again, below the demand curve, above the price, consumer surplus, below the price, above supply curve for our producers. Now, do you see the deadweight loss? It's goofy. Let me explain. These transactions have been lost. Before we had the tariff, we were way out here at the world price. Now we've been knocked down to here. So I think that triangle is obvious. That's one part of the deadweight loss. I'll put a 1 there to indicate that's deadweight loss. Very obvious. Lost transactions, same old deal, area of a triangle. Now, this triangle right here also represents deadweight loss. Let me put a 2 there. This one's less obvious. Try and explain. These transactions have been lost. And I know that because the domestic people are up here, not down here. So that number of transactions was lost because the price is a little bit too low down here. Where the buyers were in, the sellers weren't. So we've lost some people who would have made this transaction. So this little triangle is also deadweight loss. So we have those two goofy little triangles, deadweight loss. Here's our new producer surplus. Here's our new consumer surplus. And there's our tax revenue, okay? Now, again, is this on the test? Well, maybe, maybe not. You might just have to read the diagram like this or something like that, like find imports or something like that. I saw this as a free response once, very difficult, and I'll try to share that with you just so you've seen it, but I just think it's good practice for reading these axes. Okay, feel free to watch these again if it went too fast, and hopefully I'll get some feedback tomorrow if I'm in about how this video system is working.